there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I know, it's been a while. I'm very sorry about that. I've just been extremely busy for the month of November, and I have a lot of content over on the other channel, Star Wars Lads, which has been pumping out book reviews and Skeleton Crew coverage like crazy. So I do want to get back to this channel, and I'm here, and it's going to start a run here. I'm planning on doing a lot more Star Wars stuff on this channel. It seems to be what you guys all really like. I'll sprinkle some other things in as well. So I'm back with a tried and true video, and that is going to be a Star Wars book haul. So this is the first one I've done in a while. I always let it kind of accumulate until I get enough stuff to make a solid sized video. So first up off the list, it's a duplicate of something I already have, but I pick one of these up every single time I can see one. That is the original print of Star Wars on paperback. This is a first edition, first print Star Wars on paperback. For those of you who didn't know, this came out in 1976, before the movie came out, promoting the film. And it does include the entire shooting script as a novelization. A lot of details were eventually changed, so it's very different from the actual final film, but this is a really solid copy of that first print, and it's one of the rarer paperbacks you can find for Star Wars, so very excited to have another one of these in my collection. This next one was given to me by a family member, and this is The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire. I've never really read any of these, like, history of Star Wars from the point of view of, characters in the actual lore. Eventually I'll get to them when I finish everything else that's story based. So I always thought it was a cool concept. There are a couple more of this style of book as well out there that I don't have for my collection, so I'm excited to add this to the collection. I've talked a lot in the past in these updates about how hard of a time I've had finding these Clone Wars Adventures digest sized volumes. This one's volume 3, found it at a pretty good condition at a solid price, and yeah, I'm getting closer to having more of these. I still think I only have 3 or 4 of them. So this next one's a book I've passed on maybe 10 times. It's the Cestus Deception. For those of you who have seen my bookshelf collections or these updates, I prefer the standard size hardcover format to SFBC hardcovers, unless obviously a book is only available in SFBC. So I've passed on this copy of Cestus Deception many times. My local bookstore has had this for a very long time, but I don't know, I was feeling it this time, finally picked it up. Cestus Deception is one of those books, as I say usually in these updates, that is not very hard to find, or Dark Saber is the other one, that I just pass on constantly because I'm like, oh, I'll find it another time. And then when I don't find other things, then they're not there, right? So it's just one of those easier to find things that now I finally am going to add to the shelf. And I kind of was motivated to pick it up because I just read Mace Windu, The Glass Abyss, and it was Stephen Barnes. And I was like, might as well just add this to the collection too. I was at a library sale and I found an SFBC hardcover copy of The Phantom Menace with the Darth Maul cover and then the Palpatine back. I don't think it is an ex-library copy. It doesn't have any stamps or anything. I think they just had it for sale there. Picked up another one of the Clone Wars Adventures graphic novels. This is volume 5. This one was a little more beat up, but at this point I kind of take them however I see them. And it was, I believe, $2, so might as well. Some trade paperbacks I found at local comic shops. In the clearance section, there was Halcyon Legacy. This was an okay series. I did read it in singles when it came out. No, it's never going to get printed in a hardcover format, so now I have the paperback. And then Bounty Hunters Volume 6, Bedlam on Bastine. I always hope that these long-running series will eventually get an omnibus, but it took them forever to give us an omnibus for the second half of the 2015 Marvel run, the post Jason Aaron stuff. I'm assuming since Charles Soule's omnibuses sell pretty well, that will be the next one, is the 2020 Star Wars line, and if that sells well enough, maybe we'll get Bounty Hunters, but I'm kind of banking on, just like Poe Dameron, we're never going to get a Bounty Hunters omnibus. In lieu of not having the Infinities Epic Collection, I did pick up a trade paperback, an older Dark Horse trade paperback of Infinities, The Empire Strikes Back. I've actually never read this one. I read the Return of the Jedi one as a kid, and I don't think I've read A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back, so looking forward to checking this one out. Eventually, hopefully I can get the Epic Collection since I prefer that format. This was one of my better finds over the last few months. I got the Epic Collection for Legacy Volume 3. I'm missing Volume 2, which I believe is the rarest, but Volume 3 has gotten up to a pretty steep price recently for $30 at Book Off. Thought I might as well pick it up. Another one I added to the collection from Book Off was the 30th anniversary collection volume of Darklighter. I do want to collect this whole 30th anniversary collection because I think these hardcovers are really, really neat, and they do look really cool on the shelf altogether. Now, this is only my second one, so I'm very far behind on that collection. It's kind of a passive collection. If I see them for a decent price, I'll pick them up. These were recent ones, Black Friday pickups on Prime, but I couldn't say no to, I think, a $9 copy of Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade. This was one of the best Star Wars books of last year. Big surprise. So glad to add it to the collection. For Star Wars Lads, which again, you can check out my other channel, Star Wars Lads, if you want Star Wars book reviews. We review everything as they come out, but we get sent review copies via Penguin Random House audio. So I listen to the audiobooks, and then it's always hard to push myself to buy a book I've already read to put it on the shelf. So I usually wait for these types of deals, and it was a really good deal for Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade. My other Black Friday pickup on Amazon was Beware the Nameless by Zoraida Cordova. I haven't read this one yet. Looking forward to checking it out. Phase 3 of the High Republic has been hit or miss. Hopefully this is a hit. And I forgot about this one. This was also Black Friday pickup for High Republic, and that is Defy the Storm. Thought this book was okay. I reviewed it at the beginning of this year. It ties in a lot to Out of the Shadows, which is one of my least favorite High Republic books, and it spends kind of the first maybe 20% of the book trying to refresh you on everything that happened with those characters and who they were and what they're doing now. And so I didn't find that interesting, but it has its moments. The ending is pretty good. So if you're interested in all things High Republic, it's worth your time. If you're not interested in the High Republic, this one's not going to do anything for you. Another half-price books pickup, Obi-Wan, A Jedi's Purpose. This was okay. I've read this back in singles, and it's another one of those that's never going to get put in some type of hardcover format, I don't think. So thought I might as well add it to the collection, and it was only $8. One of my bigger haul pickups of the last month or so was a comic book store that I just randomly went by, and they had a bunch of these on clearance, and it's the Star Wars Republic series, which I've desperately been trying to find in paperback for the last few years. I wish they would just make a hardcover, an omnibus of the entire Republic series, if not the very least, just do the entirety of the Clone Wars. And since I have the Clone Wars Epic Collections, which is, the second half of this series, but I don't have the Menace Revealed Epic Collections, which have the first half. I've always wanted to own these in some form, and now I found pretty much the entirety of the first half that is in the Menace Revealed paperbacks that are out of print and very expensive for the Epic Collections. So starting with Volume 1, Prelude to Rebellion, which is probably the worst volume in the whole series. Then Volume 2, Outlander. Volume 3, Emissaries to Malastare. Volume 4, Twilight. Volume 5, The Hunt for Aura Singh. Volume 6, Darkness. And Volume 7, The Stark Hyperspace War. From that same store, I also added an Epic Collection for the original Marvel Years, Volume 3. Now, I have the omnibus for Volume 2 and Volume 3, and I very much so want the first one, and I'm trying to convince myself to fork over the money to buy a copy of the first one. Probably will never happen, but in the meantime, I have this Epic Collection, which I will keep until I get that first one. I do need Epic Collection Volume 1 and Volume 2 if I'm going to have everything that was in that first omnibus, but hopefully one day we can finally get a reprint of that. Like, why do we not have a reprint of the first original Marvel Years omnibus? Why do we not have a Star Wars Legacy omnibus? Why do we not have a Star Wars Legends Clone Wars from the Republic Comics omnibus? There's so many obvious ones that we don't have, but yet we're getting so many random things in omnibus, like Crimson Reign. Nobody wants a Crimson Reign omnibus. We want a Star Wars 2020 omnibus or a Darth Vader omnibus that has the Crimson Reign stuff in it. We don't need the Crimson Reign omnibus. There's so many random things they're doing. I don't understand why we don't get reprints. We get so many reprints now from Marvel. Why do we not have these ones? And next up, these are very special ones. These are from my friend Senek, who I do Star Wars Lads with on my other channel. And he got me for my birthday back in the summer 3 custom binds of Tales of the New Jedi Order, Heart of the Jedi, and Lightsider. These are my first custom binds in the entirety of my Star Wars book collection, and they're awesome to have. For those of you not familiar, Lightsider and Heart of the Jedi were canceled Star Wars books that the manuscripts are online and available to read. And then Tales of the New Jedi Order includes a lot of the ebook exclusive stuff and the short stories that were released coinciding with the releases of the new Jedi Order. So 3 awesome things to add to my collection. I'm very, very excited and thankful he got them for me. Such a nice birthday gift, and they look amazing on the shelf, and I can't wait to get more of these custom prints. And this last one is a whale I've had for a long time. Finally got a copy for my birthday also from my family, and it is the first print hardcover from Science Fiction Book Club of the original Star Wars from the Adventures of Luke Skywalker. This was obviously a hardcover adaptation of that original paperback I started the video out with. So this was an extremely exciting addition to the collection. Makes me have now all 3 of the novelizations of the original trilogy in Science Fiction Book Club hardcovers. So very, very cool addition to the collection, and now I'm just a couple books away from having almost a complete Legends collection. So thank you so much for watching this collection update. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more content just like this. I always do my full bookshelf tour in January on Star Wars Lads, so again, check that channel out if you're interested in that full bookshelf tour. I will be doing a lot more Star Wars content coming. That is the stuff you guys seem to prefer. I have a couple ideas for some tier lists to do, and yes, I will finally be giving you guys my rankings, my top 10 Legends, top 10 canon, and then top 10 combined Star Wars book lists, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you so much for watching this update, and I will see you all next time.